This lecture deals with a simple shift-reduced parser, that is operator precedence parser. So before moving to operator precedence parsing technique, we have to define an operator grammar. So what do you mean by an operator grammar? So a grammar with set of productions whose right hand side not having epsilon. That is the first property to be satisfied by operator grammar. No productions must have epsilon in the right hand side. And the second one is no productions right hand side or productions right hand side cannot have two adjacent non-terminals. For example, if I consider a grammar with production some A giving X, B, C, D. So this actually fails to satisfy the second condition. Right hand side is having two adjacent non-terminals. And again, if I am having a grammar with production A giving epsilon, this also fails to satisfy the first condition. This fails to satisfy the first condition. So if you are having a grammar with production of this form or this form, then you cannot call that grammar as an operator grammar. So if you are having multiple non-terminals in the right hand side, the non-terminals must be separated by a terminal symbol. You can have adjacent terminal symbols, but right hand side cannot have adjacent non-terminals. So that is a property to be satisfied by operator grammar. And operator precedence parser can be designed for operator grammars only. So let me take this particular example. If you are having the grammar E giving E plus E or E star E or E inside parenthesis pair or ID. So if I take this particular grammar, this is actually an operator grammar. No right hand side is epsilon and no right hand side have adjacent terminal symbol. So if I consider this right hand side, you are having two terminal symbols and that's separated by two non-terminals, but that is separated by a terminal symbol. You cannot identify a right hand side with adjacent non-terminals or adjacent variables. Now, operator precedence parser is actually based on the operator precedence relation between each and every pair of terminal symbols in the grammar. So these are the three precedents. So first one is this precedence, next one is this one, third is this one. So you are having three types of precedence that can be defined between each and every pair of terminal symbols. So if I write A related using this symbol with B, this indicates that A yields precedence to B. A yields precedence to B in the sense B is having higher precedence as compared to A. This indicates that, so if I write A, this precedence B, this indicates that A and B has equal precedence. That is, precedence of A is same as that of B. If I relate A and B using this precedence symbol, it indicates that A has precedence over B. In the sense, A is having higher precedence as compared to B. So here, this can be interpreted as A having lesser precedence as compared to B. This can be interpreted as A is having equal precedence as compared to B. You can interpret this as A is having greater precedence or higher precedence as compared to B. So between each and every pair of terminal symbols in the grammar, you have to identify the precedence. And again, for all operator grammars, it is not possible to design an operator precedence parser. The reason is that for some grammars, there will be, assume that you are having two terminal symbols, let the terminal symbols be A and B. So you can have an equal precedence relation between A and B, and again you can have a greater precedence relation between A and B, that is A is having greater precedence as compared to B. So if there exists multiple precedence relationship between any pair of terminals, then you cannot design an operator precedence parser for that grammar, because this actually leads to ambiguity while performing parsing. So the class of grammars, operator grammars, so the class of operator grammars for which there exist unique precedence relation between any pair of terminals, any pair of terminal symbols is termed as operator precedence grammar. So if I take operator precedence grammar, there should not be any production whose right hand side is epsilon. You cannot have a right hand side containing two adjacent non-terminals. So if you are having multiple non-terminals in the right hand side, that must be separated by terminal symbol. Then again, if I take any pair of terminal symbols in that grammar, there exists unique precedence relation. In the sense, you cannot have multiple precedence relationship between any pair of terminal symbols in the grammar. If a grammar satisfies these properties, then you can call it as operator precedence grammar. And operator precedence parser is actually defined for operator precedence grammar. Next one is how to construct operator precedence parser. So in order to construct operator precedence parser, first you have to identify or determine the precedence relationship between every pair of terminal symbols. So you can follow two different methods. So in first method, you can directly determine the operator precedence relation between the terminal symbols based on associativity rule and precedence rule. So this will work well for grammars or grammars that represent expression, arithmetic expression or logical expression. Second method is, rather than following the associativity rule and precedence rule, you can directly use a systematic method. So in this method, first you have to, if you are given a grammar, you have to verify whether it is ambiguous or not. If it is an ambiguous grammar, try to eliminate ambiguity. So first you have to rewrite the grammar to obtain an unambiguous grammar. So after uh, obtaining an unambiguous grammar, you can use a systematic method to determine the precedence relationship between every pair of terminal symbols, and that actually involves computation of leading and trailing. Leading and trailing. So how will you define? So we are trying to follow the second method. What do you mean by leading? Leading of a variable A is defined as the set of terminals such that alpha, A, beta. So here alpha is epsilon or a single non-terminal. So here leading of A is actually the set of terminal symbols that actually leads the sentential form derivable from A. That is the informal description. So starting from A, by applying one or more productions, I can derive a sentential form alpha A beta, provided alpha is epsilon or a single non-terminal. So in that case you can say that this is the terminal symbol that leads the sentential form. That is the first terminal symbol in the sentential form that is derivable from A. That is what you mean by leading of A. Similarly, you can define trailing. Trailing of A is defined as the set of terminal symbols A such that A derives gamma A delta, where delta is epsilon or a single non-terminal. That is, starting from A, by applying one or more productions, I can derive a sentential form gamma A delta. So this delta could be epsilon or a single non-terminal, indicating that A is the last terminal symbol in the sentential form that is derivable from capital A. Next one is how to determine leading and trailing. So first you can write rule to compute leading. So the first rule is, if you are having a production A giving alpha A beta, if you are having a production A giving, if A giving alpha A beta is a production, then you can add A to leading of A. So if you are having production A giving alpha A beta, add this A to leading of A. Second rule is, if A is in leading of B and A gives B alpha is a production. So if so, here alpha can be any grammar or any string generated using the grammar symbols. From this case, from A you can derive B alpha, and B can be used to generate some string containing A as the leading symbol. So if this condition is satisfied, then add A to leading of A. So these two steps are pretty clear. Now in order to compute trailing, trailing, you have to follow the symmetric step corresponding to this one. So first step will be not to compute trailing. First step will be if A giving gamma A delta is a production, then add A to trailing of A. So here you have to follow one important, or it should satisfy one important condition. If A gives gamma A delta is a production with delta equal to epsilon or a single non-terminal, then add A to trailing of A. Here also A giving alpha A beta is a production with alpha equal to epsilon or a single non-terminal. So this will be either epsilon or a single non-terminal. Then add A to leading of A. Similarly, if A gives gamma A delta is a production with this delta equal to epsilon or a single non-terminal, then you can add A to trailing of A. Then second one is if A is in trailing of B and A giving alpha B is a production. This indicates that from A you can derive alpha B, and this B can be used to derive some string whose last terminal is A. So if this condition is satisfied, then you can add A to trailing of A. So this A can be added to trailing of A. Now let us take this particular grammar, E giving E plus T or T, T giving T star F or F giving E inside parenthesis pair or ID. So this is actually an unambiguous grammar for arithmetic expression involving addition and multiplication. So we are trying to compute or determine leading and trailing. So you are having three non-terminals E, T and F. E, T and F. So how will you compute leading of E? So you need to consider that production whose left hand side is E. First you can consider this production. In this case, this is of the form alpha A beta. That is alpha A beta, and alpha is a single non-terminal, it's a variable. So you can add plus 2 leading of A. Sorry, leading of E. Now if I consider this one, this production actually matches with this condition. That is, if I take E giving E plus T, this is of the form A giving B alpha, that is B is E and alpha is plus T. So you can add everything in leading of B, that is leading of E to leading of E, everything in leading of B to leading of A. But here A and B are same, so if you execute that step, still the set will remain same. Now you can consider the second production corresponding to E, that is E giving T. This is of the form A giving B alpha. So here B is T and alpha is epsilon. So if this is the case, you can add every terminals that belong to leading of T to leading of E. So here you can add everything in leading of B to leading of A. Leading of T. Now what about leading of T? You can consider production whose left hand side is T. So you are having T giving T star. From this it is clear that star is a member that belongs to leading of T, because this matches with this condition. Star is preceded with exactly one non-terminal. Now you can consider this production T giving F. If we consider T giving F, this is of the form A giving B alpha with alpha equal to epsilon. So you can add everything in leading of F to leading of T. Now what about leading of F? If I consider this particular production, that is opening parenthesis E, closing parenthesis, this actually matches with this one with alpha equal to epsilon. Nothing is there. So the first terminal symbol in the right hand side is opening parenthesis. So opening parenthesis will be a member. Again, if I consider the next production, F giving ID is the first terminal in the right hand side. So F giving ID actually matches with the rule A giving alpha A beta with alpha equal to epsilon, A equal to ID and beta is equal to epsilon. So you can add ID to leading of F. Now after computing leading of F, you can add everything in leading of F to leading of T. So this will turn to star opening ID. Now leading of, you can add everything in leading of T to leading of E. So leading of E will turn to plus star opening ID. Similarly, you can compute trailing. So what about trailing of E? You can consider the right hand side. The terminal symbol, last terminal symbol in the right hand side is plus here. So plus will be added. Now again, if I consider E giving T, production E giving T, this actually matches with this production, that is A giving alpha B. So here alpha is actually epsilon and B is actually T. If this is the case, you can add everything in trailing of B to trailing of A. So here you are expected to add everything in trailing of T to trailing of E. So trailing of T. Now what about trailing of T? You can consider the production whose left hand side is T. So the last symbol, if you consider this right hand side, the last terminal symbol is star. So you can directly add star to trailing of T. Now if I consider the production T giving F, this actually matches with this condition. So you are expected to add everything in trailing of F to trailing of T. Trailing of F to trailing of T. Now you can compute trailing of F. If I consider this right hand side, the last terminal symbol is closing parenthesis. This actually matches with this rule. So closing parenthesis will be a member. Then if I consider the production F giving ID, ID is the last terminal symbol in the right hand side. So ID will be a member. Now you can replace this trailing of F with opening parenthesis and ID. Now trailing of T will be star closing ID. Star closing ID. So in this way you can compute leading and trailing. Now once after computing leading and trailing, we can easily establish the precedence relationship between the terminal symbols. So let me rewrite the grammar. The grammar is E giving E plus T or T, T giving T star F or F, F giving E inside parenthesis pair or ID. So you are having the terminal symbols plus, star, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, ID, and the you need to include delimiting symbol also. So delimiting symbol is dollar. So plus, star, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, ID, dollar. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, ID. So you have to construct operator precedence table based on leading and trailing. Now these are the rules to be followed. So if you are having any right hand side, any production, A giving alpha, A, beta, B, gamma, with, that is the first rule, with beta equal to epsilon or a single non-terminal. So here beta must be epsilon or a single non-terminal, which indicates that A and B could be adjacent terminal symbols. So if beta equal to epsilon, then A and B will be adjacent terminal symbols. Or if beta is a single non-terminal, then you can say that A and B are two adjacent terminal symbols separated by exactly a single non-terminal. So if that is the case, you can relate A and B using equal precedence relation. Then A is having equal precedence as compared to B. This is the first rule. So you can pull out all terminal pairs that are related using equal precedence relationship. So in this case, you are not having two terminals in the right hand side. Here also no two terminals. But if we consider this production, you are having opening parenthesis and closing parenthesis, and that is separated with a single non-terminal. So this right hand side is of this form, containing two terminal symbols separated by a single non-terminal. So you can relate opening parenthesis to closing parenthesis. Opening parenthesis is having equal precedence as compared to closing parenthesis. Now if you analyze here, you are not having any other terminal pairs with equal precedence. So assume that you are having a production like this. If you are having a production like this, here you are having two adjacent terminal symbols. So you can fix opening and closing as equal precedence. Okay. Now second point, that is, you have to pull out all symbols that are related with lesser precedence, terminal pairs that are related with lesser precedence. So assume that you are having a production whose right hand side is of the form alpha A beta. So you are having a production whose right hand side is alpha, which is of the form alpha A beta, and A derives some gamma B delta with this delta equal to, gamma equal to epsilon or a single non-terminal, then set A is having lesser precedence as compared to B. So let me repeat the rule once more. If you are having a production whose right hand side is alpha A beta with A deriving gamma B delta with gamma equal to epsilon or a single non-terminal, then you can say that A is having lesser precedence as compared to B. So you can make use of this leading information to establish lesser precedence relationship. So as far as B is concerned, B is actually an element that belongs to leading of A, leading of this capital A. So you can relate this A to everything that belongs to leading of capital A. So if you are having a production alpha A beta, A is having lesser precedence as compared to everything that belongs to leading of A. That is the rule. So you can take the productions one by one. So if I take this particular production, here alpha is E, small a is plus is followed by T. So this A is followed by this capital A. So plus is followed by T. So plus can be related to everything in leading of T using this precedence. So plus can be related to everything in leading of T. Plus is related to everything in leading of T. So leading of T is star. So lesser precedence, opening parenthesis, lesser precedence, ID, lesser precedence. So similarly, you don't need to treat E giving T because you are not having any terminal here. Similarly, you can process this one. So you are having star followed by F. So star can be related to everything in leading of F. Leading of F using lesser precedence relation. So star can be related to everything in leading of F. Leading of F contains opening parenthesis, then ID. Now if I consider this one, you are having opening parenthesis followed by a variable E. So opening parenthesis can be related with lesser precedence to everything in leading of E. So leading of E contains plus, star, opening parenthesis, ID. So this one is over. Next, then third one. We are trying to establish this relationship, greater precedence relationship. So you are assuming that you are having a right hand side which is of the form alpha A B beta with A deriving gamma A delta with this delta equal to epsilon, this equal to epsilon, or a single terminal, non-terminal, then you can say that A is having greater precedence as compared to B. So how can you relate this A and this A? This A is actually an element that belongs to trailing of A. So if this is the case, assume that you are having a production alpha A B beta, then you can say that everything in trailing of A will have greater precedence as compared to B. So you can rewrite this as everything in trailing of A is having greater precedence as compared to B. So you can identify right hand side that's having a substring, or that's having a non-terminal immediately followed by a terminal symbol. So you are having E plus. So how will you establish the precedence relationship? Everything in trailing of E will have greater precedence as compared to plus. So what about trailing of E? Trailing of E is plus. So plus is having greater precedence as compared to plus. Then trailing of E contains star. Star is having greater precedence as compared to plus. Then closing parenthesis. Closing parenthesis is having greater precedence as compared to this plus. Then ID. ID is having greater precedence as compared to this plus. Similarly, you can process T star. Everything in trailing of T will have greater precedence as compared to star. So what about trailing of T? Trailing of T contains star. So star is having greater precedence as compared to star. Then closing parenthesis, that is having greater precedence as compared to star. Trailing of T contains ID. ID is having greater precedence as compared to star. Now you can consider this one. Variable E is followed by closing parenthesis. So you can relate everything in trailing of E with trailing of E to closing parenthesis. So trailing of E contains plus. So plus is having greater precedence as compared to closing parenthesis. Star is having greater precedence as compared to closing parenthesis. Then closing parenthesis is having greater precedence as compared to closing parenthesis. You are having ID in trailing, so ID is having greater precedence as compared to closing parenthesis. So third step is over. So we have established equal precedence relation, lesser precedence relation and greater precedence relation. Now you have to address dollar. For all A belonging to leading of S, where S is the start symbol, for all A belonging to leading of S, you can say that dollar is having lesser precedence as compared to A. And for all B belonging to trailing of S, set B is having greater precedence as compared to dollar. So what about the elements that belong to leading of E? Leading of E includes plus. So dollar is having lesser precedence as compared to everything that belongs to leading. Leading of start symbol. Start symbol is E in this case. So plus star dollar star pair. Dollar opening pair is having lesser precedence. Dollar dollar ID is having lesser precedence. Similarly, everything in trailing of S will be having greater precedence as compared to dollar. What about trailing of starting symbol? That is plus. So plus is having greater precedence as compared to dollar. Star is having greater precedence as compared to dollar. Closing parenthesis. Closing parenthesis is having greater precedence as compared to dollar. ID is having greater precedence as compared to dollar. And these are actually nil entries, in the sense you cannot establish a precedence relationship between these two. In the sense, opening parenthesis will be never followed by a dollar, or closing parenthesis will be never followed by an opening parenthesis. So that actually violates the grammar rule. So in this way, if we consider this operator precedence table, it is pretty clear that entries are actually unique in the sense for a pair of terminal symbols we are not having multiple precedence relationship. So this is actually an operator precedence grammar, so you are having unique entries. Now how this parser works? So let me illustrate working of the operator precedence parser based on this operator precedence table. Let the input string be id plus id star id. So that will be delimited with dollar. So you will be having the stack. Initially stack will be delimited with dollar. It will start reading the input string. It will compare the precedence between the stack top and the input encountered, that is $id. So let A be the stack element and B be the input encountered. So it will compare A and B. So if I consider dollar is the stack top and ID is the input. So compare these two, $id. Look into this table, $id. Input is having higher precedence. So if the input encountered is having higher or equal precedence, that is A is having lesser precedence as compared to B, the input is having higher precedence, or A is having equal precedence as B, the expected operation is shift operation. Shift actually represents push operation of the symbol. So ID will be pushed into stack. Now it will read the next input, ID plus. It will compare the precedence. ID plus. So content in the stack top is having higher precedence. So what happens is it will perform a pop operation. So the popped element is ID. So pop actually corresponds to reduction operation. So this popped element, now once after performing a pop operation, it will compare precedence of the current top with the popped element. So what about $id? So $id is related with lesser precedence. So you have to repeatedly perform the pop operation until the current top will be having lesser precedence as compared to recently popped element. So you have to repeat the pop operation. So if you compare the precedence, dollar is having lesser precedence as compared to ID. So this operation or the reduction will stop there. ID get popped. Now dollar plus. So if I consider dollar plus is having higher precedence, that will be pushed. Now plus ID. ID is having higher precedence, so that will be pushed. Next one is ID star. The content in stack is having higher precedence, so perform a pop operation that corresponds to reduction and compare precedence of the current top with the popped element. So you have to perform this pop operation until the content in top is having lesser precedence. So plus ID. So the relation is lesser precedence operation. So this pop operation will stop there. Now plus star. Star is having higher precedence, so star will be pushed. Next one is star ID. ID is having the input is having higher precedence, so perform a shift operation. Next one is ID dollar. So content in stack is having higher precedence, so perform a pop operation. Popped element is ID. Now compare stack top precedence check the precedence relation between the stack top and the recently popped item. So star ID, that is related using lesser precedence. The pop will stop there. Now star dollar, the input encountered is dollar, star dollar. Again perform a reduction operation, star will be popped. If you compare plus star is related using lesser precedence. So this will represent a single reduction operation. Again compare plus dollar. Content in stack is having high precedence, so this will be the handle and perform the reduction operation. At the end it will read dollar. So content in stack top will be dollar and the input encountered is dollar. So it will accept the input string, or this will be treated as a valid string. So in this way, this operator precedence parser validates the input string. Now the main drawback of this operator precedence parser is that it is not possible to design operator precedence parser for all the grammars. It actually works for a small class of grammars called operator grammars or operator precedence grammars. But still it is a simple parsing technique that can be used to construct parse tree or perform parsing for expressions or the strings that involving expressions. That's it.